committed to
just
you.
kind of broad brushes.
Fox Carolina, the 6 o'clock news starts now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Shale Remien. Thanks for being with us here at 6 o'clock. We have a lot to talk to you about as far as our weather goes. I know it's pretty active in the upstate and the mountains.
It is.
You know, Asheville City schools, they're actually learning remotely tomorrow because of that winter weather threat.
I think they'll see some accumulating snow in Asheville. And, you know, this is a potent system, Shale. We had the one last night, and then we've got this other sneaky one coming our way. So we've got a severe weather side potentially, and definitely a snowy side in a much colder side. This is a shock to the system tomorrow with this cold air moving in. Let's start with the look outside. You can see how we have those low clouds moving in. And, you know, you never like to see those clouds moving that fast because that usually tells us something is up. And we have another system headed our way out of the middle Mississippi Valley. And this will track right over the I-85 corridor. On the warm side, we've got showers and storms and that severe potential. On the cold side, we've got snow developing through Mississippi and Tennessee. And we're going to be seeing snow going gangbusters in our mountains for tonight. You can see the showers now south of I-85, steady rain around Greenwood on into Lawrence and Newberry as well. Lighter rain farther to the north right now. Here's a closer look at some of that rain around Greenwood, Lawrence, into Batesburg, into Leesville, also into McCormick as well. We have a risk for severe weather, I think, from about midnight till 4 a.m. A slight risk from Lawrence into Greenwood, basically along and south of I-85. Make sure you're on guard tonight with your weather radio or your weather app because we have that potential of maybe a few tornadoes, possibly with this system. It's that robust. Winter storm alerts as we go into tonight. We've got winter storm warnings into the mountains. They're going to see maybe up to a foot of snow. The higher mountains, Asheville, maybe an inch or so, and a winter weather advisory a little farther south from Remien County, just north of the state line into Transylvania County, part of Jackson, and then to the north and east. So through this evening, we see the scattered showers, but then as the system gets closer, it's going to come right up I-85. And we start to get into some really heavy rain and that potential for severe weather. Once again, after midnight till 4 a.m., because we've got so much warm air on this side of the system. Then here comes the cold air on that side, and we see that rain change to snow, and it's going to snow hard in the mountains into Monday morning into Asheville in the Franklin area. And I think the rain stays in the upstate. Maybe some flakes getting into Greenville, but probably TR, some of the higher elevations. You can see the snow flying Monday morning on into Asheville. We're seeing the winds quiet now, but they're really going to start to fire up as we go through time. Future rain totals, we're looking at perhaps an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain. And here's how I think the snow is going to lay out. 6 to 12 inches along the highest peaks, 3 to 6 inches a little farther south and east. Around Asheville, maybe an inch or 2 or 3 across much of this area through Waynesville into Forest City. Maybe a coating right along the state line, the northern upstate, and then just plain rain farther off to the south. Temperatures now, we're looking at 50s and 60s, 62 in Greenville, 59 in Anderson, Hartwell at 59 degrees. So here's another look at Futurecast. Once again, looks like I put it in there twice. It's been a busy day. We're looking at that rain transitioning to snow as we go through the overnight on into your Monday morning, and then things start to clear out. We do have a low to moderate risk of flash flooding, a chance of small hail. We have a moderate chance of damaging winds and maybe a brief tornado too. A lot to talk about. 50s tonight, increasing rain and storms, potentially severe. Cold rain in the mountains, transitioning to snow by morning. Look how those temperatures absolutely plummet to 32 by 6 a.m. And for your upstate forecast tomorrow, 8 a.m. 38, by noon 44. Talk about a shock to the system. And for the mountains, 8 a.m. 28, only lower 30s through the rest of the day. We'll be updating online as we go through the overnight and the evening hours, hourly, and much more on Fox Carolina News at 10. Shale?
Yeah, it's certainly a lot to keep up with in our weather department, that's for sure, Bob. And ahead of any flakes we might see, Asheville City Schools announcing they will learn remotely tomorrow. Students will start the first week of the new year at home, and assignments will be passed out via Canvas by 9 a.m. Students will have until January 10th, though, to complete those assignments in case there's any power outages. We are following a news alert. A child is safe after being kidnapped in Greenville County. We brought this to you live as breaking news last night on the 10 o'clock news. Video is from a viewer just feet away from Greenville County deputies and the K-9 unit calling out for that suspect, saying he's under arrest. We know that suspect is still on the loose at this hour, and our crews captured this scene footage just down the road from Cedar Lane Road surrounding this gas station. If you're familiar with this is right near the old White Horse Road. Greenville County deputies say the child, just under 5, was taken along with that unattended car they were inside of in this parking lot. Deputies thankfully found the car and the child safe on Old White Horse Road. Now, deputies are still trying to track down the suspect, as I said, nearly 24 hours later. If you know who this man is or if you've seen him, please call 911. Turning now to some developing stories. Gunshots ring out of inside an upstate bar on New Year's Eve. The shooting turning deadly in Spartanburg. And we went back to that scene at the El Gordo bar on Asheville Highway. Deputies tell us it's here they found a man shot to death inside of that bar. The coroner says his name is Jose Perez. We know an argument led up to the gunshots, supposedly between the victim and at least 2 of these people. Now they are behind bars. Deputies arrested Elder Escobar right there on the right with murder, and then Tiffany Maccabee for aiding him. Well, the woman died in the hospital after being pulled from a wreck in Oconee County. Troopers tell us she was heading down Abenzo Road when she went off the right side and hit an open drain. The coroner says she passed away an hour later. We are still waiting on her name, though. Another single car crash leaves a woman dead in Anderson. Coroner Greg Short tells us Virginia Tollison was driving along Palmetto Road when she hit an embankment and her car flipped over. Several crews responded, but she was already dead by the time they arrived. And the Pickens County coroner just identified moments ago the 2 people killed in a crash on Saturday morning. Randy Hill, the driver, along with the passenger, Stephanie Owens, were both killed Saturday morning. Troopers say Hill drove off the left side of the road, hitting multiple trees. This was on Earls Bridge Road there in Easley. New information to pass along to you. The South Carolina Department of Education announcing they are adjusting their COVID-19 policies. Now, the changes fall in line with DHEC's guidelines now. The isolation period of students that test positive are reduced from 10 days to 5 days. So students will be required to wear masks for days 6 through 10. Students must also provide a parent's note saying their symptoms have improved, including no fever in the last 24 hours without using fever-reducing medications. If an unvaccinated student is exposed to someone with the virus, the quarantine period is at a minimum of 5 days and can end if they test negative. A PCR test or an antigen test must be collected no sooner than day 4. At-home tests will not be accepted, though. Regardless of vaccination status, students must wear a mask through day 10 when they return to school. And I know there's a lot to keep up with when it comes to COVID, the guidelines, vaccinations. If we get any new updates from Greenville County schools or any upstate school districts for that matter, we'll push it directly to our app. It's free to download at both the App Store and Google Play. And as you heard meteorologist Bob Trihy mention, we are monitoring the weather for you very closely here in the upstate with any storms, and as well as in Asheville for any potential snow. Stay with us all throughout our social media apps and stay tuned for the 10 o'clock news.